Hey guys, and as promised, I am here with the review of The Bad Batch. Season 2 of The Bad Batch is great. I was not a huge fan of the first season of The Bad Batch. I thought that, I love the first introductory episode, how it started with Order 66, and why the Bad Batch clones were able to resist it. And I also really liked both of the episodes with Cad Bane, because I'm a huge fan of that guy. But other than that, I was not a huge fan of the show. I felt like it was not much was happening, and it was just a bunch of side quests that didn't bring much substance into the story. Plus, also, I thought that the show wasn't quite as violent and as the Clone Wars, even though it was taking place during the Empire, and it wasn't taking much risks. So yes, I wasn't a huge fan of the first season of The Bad Batch, but Season 2 literally feels like it was made specifically for people who weren't huge fans of Season 1, because it's an improvement on Season 1 in every single way possible. Season 2 is great, and it sometimes feels almost like I'm watching very much a continuation of the Clone Wars. Yes, because Season 2 of The Bad Batch is just great, and it's basically everything I wanted from the first season. Before we get to specifics of what makes Season 2 so great though, let's talk a little bit about The Bad Batch and what it's about. It's about this group of rogue clones, The Bad Batch, who actually made the first appearance in the Clone Wars, actually, a pretty great arc from the Clone Wars. So they made their first appearance in the Clone Wars, and because they are genetically modified clones, they were able to resist Order 66, and as a result, they didn't become obedient slaves of the Empire, unlike the other clones. And as a result now, they are on the run from the Empire. And also, there is a female clone with them. Her name is Omega, who was working as a medical engineer on Kamino at first, but she feels some kinship with those clones, and she joins them on their mission. So, it's pretty cool. And honestly, now that I watch Season 2, it's pretty obvious to me that in Season 1 they were just trying to find a place for themselves. I mean, they're showrunners, but now they kind of settle in, and that's why Season 2 is so much better than Season 1. At least in my opinion. Among other things I love in Season 2 is that we are seeing early days of the Empire, like in Season 1, other than the very first 2 episodes, and the last 2 episodes, we haven't really seen much Empire. They were mostly just there in the background, while, as I said, the Bad Batch was mostly going on a bunch of side quests. But here we really see the Empire and how dangerous the Empire is. I mean, we already knew from the original trilogy and everything else, but you get what I mean. And I also love how we learn how the clones were transferred from clones to stormtroopers. In fact, there is a whole 2-episode arc that tells the story and how the clones initially were trying to expose an Imperial officer who destroyed facilities on Kamino, but then Emperor Palpatine takes this Imperial officer prisoner and proceeds with the order anyway, showing how manipulative Emperor Palpatine is and how he was always 2 steps ahead of everyone else. Actually, more than 2 steps ahead. Those 2 episodes are probably my favorite episodes in the entire show, especially entire Season 2, which says a lot, because as I said, Season 2, unlike Season 1, is a very great season. And I also love the very last episode with Crosshair, like the one member of the Bad Batch who actually defected to the Empire. That episode was very dark, actually, and it was served as a perfect character development from Crosshair, and he's beginning to see how evil really the Empire is, especially how the way they treat clones. So yes, I love the episodes, the 2-parter episodes on Coruscant, but I also really love that last episode with Crosshair. And another thing I want to talk about is that it's also obvious that David Filoni wants to use some of the amazing ideas that he initially planned in the Clone Wars that never saw the light of day. And I'll give you a perfect example of that now. The Clone Wars wanted an arc with Yoda on Kashyyyk, and how his relationship with the Wookiees, and that the Separatists were meant to team up with like the Trandoshans. And also we would learn how the Wookiees worship the trees and talk to them, and how they're spiritual with the trees. Honestly, that sounded like a wicked cool idea, and I was so sad that it never made so the light of day in the arc of the Clone Wars. But here in the Bad Batch, it finally did. Like, they especially keep the idea with the trees, which is fantastic. They still have the Trandoshans, although since it's no longer the Clone Wars, the Separatists are replaced with the Empire. But that's actually a good thing. And overall, I like what the Batch is doing, that it explores early days of the Empire, and I like how we actually finally see like the Empire politicians, and I like also in the beginning how Emperor Palpatine actually doesn't show himself. He like has people that speak for him, but he only shows in very special situations, like the one in the two-parter episode I described, how he basically reveals he was a couple steps ahead of the Bad Batch and passes the law that replaces clones with the Stormtroopers. I like that a lot. And I'm glad we finally see the actual Coruscant during the Empire. And the characters in the show are pretty likable too, like Omega. She's not very popular among the fandom, but I like Omega. I think she's a very well done character with great character development, and I really love her relationship with the Batch. Like, I think that she has very great chemistry with them. Another thing I like also how Captain Rex from the Clone Wars makes a couple of appearances. Like, Rex was one of my favorite characters in the Clone Wars. Rex was one of my favorite characters in the Clone Wars, and I'm glad he shows up here and is allied with the Batch. With all that said though, I'm not sure if we need characters like Ahsoka Tano, Darth Vader, or Darth Maul here. Like, this show mostly focuses on the Bad Batch and the overall Empire. So I think that for now it's best if we just focus on these characters. And I will also say this. If the show keeps the quality and maybe even improves with Season 3, and yes, now I'm really hoping for Season 3, because, well, I mean, we still have 4 more episodes to go, but now, because Season 2 impressed me so much, I'm really hoping for Season 3. And if the show keeps going with the quality, this show has the potential to be comparable to Star Wars Rebels, or even the Clone Wars. Who knows? Yes, but honestly, if, as I said, if the show keeps on with the quality, it will definitely be comparable to Rebels and Clone Wars. We'll see. But overall, I can officially say The Bad Batch is a very good show. I really love The Bad Batch, and I'm really looking forward to Season 3, and I hope it gets made. So, thank you guys for checking out this video. Press the like button, please subscribe to this channel, and I will talk to you soon in another video. Talk to you later, bye!